Hey guys, you're watching Phone Arena's in-depth video review of the Sony Ericsson Vivaz, which is going to be available through AT&T starting September 5th and sports an inexpensive contract price of $79.99. So it's not that bad at all in terms of just the amount of features you're going to get with this handset. It's actually the very first Sony Ericsson device to support HD 720p video recording, and it's powered by S60 5th edition. So we'll check it out and see what it has to offer over the original one that was launched not too long ago. AT&T's version of the Vivaz hasn't changed from what we saw with the one launched overseas. It has that contemporary look that we definitely like about it. It has a design scheme similar to what you see on any digital camera, and it's made out of plastic all around, which does make it feel very slick in the hand and does attract a lot of fingerprints and smudges. We did tend to see a little bit of scratching happening too when we put it in our pockets. Overall though, it's a normal size, not that heavy at all because of the choice of materials employed, and does feel rather well constructed all around. So when you power on the Vivaz for the very first time, you're going to be greeted to its 3.2-inch resistive touchscreen. It has a resolution of 360 by 640, which is typical of any other S60 5th edition handset, and has support for 16.7 million colors. And we got to say, even though it's not a Super AMOLED panel or even AMOLED, it does a great job of displaying colors because they look pretty brilliant. And of course, the text is pretty easy to see just because there's a lot of clarity to it. Unfortunately, though, when you take it outdoors, it becomes almost unusable because you can't really see the screen that well. It is fairly responsive, but it does come included with a stylus if you need it. Right below it, you have the dedicated buttons here, the send and the menu key. On the left-hand side, you have a notch for the speakerphone, micro USB port, 3.5mm headset jack. On the right, you have a 2-level shutter key for your camera, a dedicated video camera button, and of course the nice size volume rocker. On the top, you have a lock, unlock, and even the power key. And on the back, you're treated to its 8.1 autofocus camera with LED flash, and when you remove the back cover, it gives you access to the battery, SIM card slot, and the micro SD card slot. As we mentioned earlier, the Sony Ericsson Vivaz is powered by S60 5th edition, so the overall experience is going to be pretty much faithful to what you see in other handsets out there. Now you have the main home screen here. It's broken down to 5 different panels, and you can see all of them from the top here. You have some quick functions here to the phone on the main home screen. To the left of this one, you have the Twitter client, and to the left of that one, you have your favorites. To the right of the home screen, the main home screen, you have one for your photos, so you can view all your photos on here. And to the right of this one is going to be just some quick applications you can launch. Getting to the main menu, just press the main menu button on the handset, and it's laid out in typical fashion of other S60 handsets. It's very useful. It's laid out in grid-like format, and if you've used S60 5th edition, it's going to be quite familiar. Overall, though, we didn't notice any lag or any issues as far as moving about the platform, and it remains faithful to what you see out there. Seeing that it's a touchscreen-only device, there's going to be a bunch of different options for text input. The main one here, you have the numeric keypad for your traditional way of typing text. You also have one for handwriting, so if you get good at this, you'll be able to use it. And the other options, of course, the on-screen QWERTY keyboard, which is pretty cramped when it's in portrait. You're going to definitely need to use the stylus, but if you put it into landscape, it's going to provide you for a better experience just because it's slightly bigger, but we did still find ourselves just typing very slowly just because of the resistive panel, but it is pretty accurate. The web browsing experience on the Vivaz is pretty decent just because it managed to load up our page fairly quickly, and on top of that, it rendered it properly too. It lacks kinetic scrolling, so you're going to really need to hold down the resistive touchscreen to move about the website. You could zoom in by simply double tapping an area, or by either pressing the dedicated zoom button here to zoom in even more. It does a great job, as we said, and should be more than acceptable for anyone out there. The music player in the Vivaz is pretty much the same as the original one here. It's broken down by artists, albums, tracks, and the interface itself is a nice looking one, to tell you the truth, even though it's typical of any other handsets out there. You'll have the album cover, the information, and also some on-screen controls. As far as the speaker is concerned, the quality produced is a little bit on the muted side, and did sound rather weak in tone. We didn't find any problems playing back any of the videos we had on the Sony Ericsson Vivaz. The video that we have here loaded is encoded in MPEG-4 1280 by 720 resolution. As you can tell, it produces some rich looking colors, very smooth visuals, and didn't have any evidence of any slowdown or lag, so the experience is going to be pretty great out there. Easily the biggest feature on the Vivaz has to be its 8.1 megapixel autofocus camera. Even though it boasts a high megapixel count, we were pretty pleased with the overall set of features on here, such as the different shooting modes. It even offers something like face detection. Now, taking a photo is pretty simple. All you gotta do is just press the shutter key slightly to focus in, and you press it all the way down to take the shot. As far as quality outdoors in good lighting conditions, it produced a lot of detail. Colors though were a little bit on the lighter side, and when we took it indoors in low lighting conditions with the flash, as you could tell, the flash is constantly on. It really didn't take the correct photos that we would have liked it to. 5 months ago, when the Vivaz was first launched, we were really impressed it offered 720p video recording, but since then we've seen a handful of devices offer that capability, such as the iPhone 4, Motorola Droid X, and even the Samsung Galaxy S. Now, as far as quality, though, it should be more than acceptable by anyone here. It does produce a lot of great detail, and on top of that, it's one of the few devices out there that will continuously focus in on the object that you're shooting, so it's pretty nice. But unfortunately, though, it shoots it at a frame rate of 23 frames per second, so it might not be the most smoothest one out there, but should be more than acceptable for anyone. The earpiece and the Vivaz produced some strong tones that made it very easy for us to hear our callers, although when we weren't talking at all, there's a noticeable faint static sound that can be heard in the background. Our callers did say our voice did sound rather crackly on their end as well. When we switched to using the speakerphone, though, it did produce some mute-sounding voices that made it rather weak and difficult to understand. As far as battery life with the handset, we're really surprised. It does a great job in that respect. We managed to get at least a full day on heavy usage. And of course, signal strength on the handset was pretty good too. We didn't notice any issues with it fluctuating and managed to retain a good solid connection to the network. Yet again, we're seeing another Sony Ericsson smartphone being released here in the US a little bit later than expected. But still, when you factor in the mix of features it has to offer, such as the 8.1 megapixel camera, 720p video recording, and S65th edition, it does make for one well-rounded device, even more when it's priced at $79.99. It might not win any awards in the specific categories it contends in, but it does do a respectable job, especially for $79.99 versus some of the higher-end handsets out there priced at $200. So we definitely like that in that respect. Overall, though, you can't go wrong too much with the Vivaz. It's a nice looking handset, very lightweight, and has an appealing, stylish look to it. And overall, the performance should satisfy most people out there. So if you'd like to learn more about the Sony Ericsson Vivaz, or for all the latest cell phone reviews, news, specs, and information, you can check us out at phonearena.com.